guys? It's your boy John the Liquidator coming back with another video, and it looked like this Saudi-backed Project B is targeting some of the highest ranking basketball figures in the world. But what's more important is, will they offer Caitlin Clark that $100 million deal? Guys, for this one here, we got to go all the way to Saudi Arabia. Let's get it. Let's go.
$100 million. That number just dropped like a bomb across the entire basketball world. And the shockwaves are still reverberating through every arena, every front office, and every social media feed in America. Because right now, as you're watching this, Caitlin Clark, the biggest name in women's basketball, the player who single-handedly dragged millions of eyeballs to the WNBA, is being courted by a league so rich, so powerful, and so ambitious that it makes the WNBA look like a high school fundraiser. We're talking about Project B, a Saudi-backed basketball empire that just made its intentions crystal clear. They want Caitlin. They want her bad. And they've got the kind of money that turns impossible dreams into signed contracts. This isn't some rumor floating around Twitter. This is real. This is happening.
Liquidator up for this one. Oh, man, y'all want my take on this Saudi deal. And I'm here to tell you. Oh, I got time today, and we definitely finna talk about this thing. Now, word on the street is that they're looking to target Caitlin Clark. We got some tweets to go over, but what's first is we got a bit of negotiations for the WNBA actually signing to this Saudi-backed project. Man, ESPN broke the story late yesterday, guys, and this one right here is a shocker, and this has to be a conflict of interest, man, in some way, shape, form, or
the WNBA commissioner, she's watching her league's entire future potentially walk out the door, and there's absolutely nothing she can do about it except watch the numbers get bigger and bigger. So buckle up, because what you're about to hear is going to completely change everything you thought you knew about women's basketball, athlete compensation, and the future of professional sports. Let's rewind for just a second. Project B didn't just appear out of nowhere. This is a Saudi-backed initiative with resources so deep they make traditional sports franchises look broke. We're talking state-backed funding, unlimited budgets, and a war chest that doesn't care about salary caps or collective bargaining agreements. Their mission is simple and absolutely ruthless. They want to completely obliterate the established order of women's.
And this one right here is a shocker. And this has to be a conflict of interest, man, in some way, shape, form, or fashion. But I'm here to tell y'all, man, with the growing state of the WNBA for us, the media space, it's not good. It's not good. I've been telling y'all for the last 2 weeks, the WNBA is a sinking ship, and your boy John the Liquidator ain't going down with it. That's how I'm feeling. Now, we gonna talk about this story right here because this story caught national attention. Then we're going to get into this whole connection between
professional basketball. They're not here to compete. They're here to dominate, to reshape, to fundamentally rewrite the rules of the game. And they've identified exactly one person who can make that happen instantly. Caitlin Clark. Think about that for a moment. Out of every player on the planet, every superstar, every MVP, every Olympic gold medalist, Project B looked at the landscape and said her name. Not as one option among many, but as the absolute crown jewel, the non-negotiable centerpiece of their entire strategy. Because Caitlin isn't just talented. She's a cultural phenomenon. She's the player who made college basketball must-see TV. She's the athlete who brought millions of new fans into women's sports. Her popularity isn't regional or niche. It's massive and it's global. And Project B knows that if they can sign her, they don't just get a player. They get
Women's Basketball League ahead of the 2026 season. She basically broke the damn internet yesterday. Ogwumike, like other players in this league, will get undisclosed. Guys, the money is undisclosed. And an equity stake in the league. Project B officials have said the 66 players who they want for the league, the format calls for 6 teams for 11 women each, will receive larger salaries than those currently of the WNBA. And my guess will be, oh, they're giving them $1 million. See, when your majesties, yes, your
instant legitimacy. They get worldwide attention. They get the kind of cultural cachet that money alone can't buy. But here's where things get really interesting. The WNBA is in absolutely no position to fight this battle. Behind the scenes, the league is struggling. Reports have been surfacing for weeks describing internal chaos, financial instability, and a structure that's barely holding together. Some insiders have even used the term sinking ship. That's not exaggeration, that's assessment. The timing of Project B's aggressive push couldn't be more perfect or more devastating for the WNBA. Because when you've got a league that's already dealing with player dissatisfaction over salaries, revenue-sharing disputes, and collective bargaining negotiations that keep getting extended because nobody can agree on fair compensation, suddenly a competitor shows up with unlimited cash and zero restrictions. That's not competition.
And my guess will be, oh, they're giving them $1 million. See, when your majesties, yes, your majesties, get involved, he has unlimited funds. He don't need no damn CBA, your majesties. He don't need none of that. He got his bag is super duper right. There is no price tag on your majesty's funds. I just gotta be honest, and look, I said this once, and I'll say this again. Let me blow this up. Your majesties, if you need a special content creator you want to hire on the salary to blow it.
And get this.
That's an execution. And Project B already proved they're serious. They didn't just talk about disrupting the market. They went out and signed Nneka Ogwumike, a former WNBA MVP, a player with name recognition, respect, and a resume that speaks for itself. When that signing was announced, it sent immediate shockwaves through the basketball community. The contract details? Still mostly undisclosed. But the reaction told you everything you needed to know. This wasn't a lateral move. This was a massive upgrade. And Ogwumike didn't try to sugarcoat it. In a brutally honest interview with the Associated Press, she straight up admitted that the compensation package was the deciding factor. Not legacy, not loyalty, not the comfort of staying in a familiar system. The money, because for the first time in her career, someone was offering her what she actually believed she was worth. That admission was more than just
cut the check. That's how I'm feeling. That's how I'm feeling. Because they got an undisclosed amount of money. And y'all think they ain't. Bro, Caitlin Clark is the biggest name in all of women's sports. Now, do I think she gonna get 100 mil? No. But do I think she can get 50? No. Do I think she can get 10 to 20? Yes. Oh, hell yes. They gonna get, because we gotta realize this. When it comes to Caitlin, her stock kind of went down a little bit. We all could agree on that. Hell, if you can't see Caitlin Clark's stock that went down, you lying to yourself.
Personal honesty. It was a mirror held up to the entire WNBA, exposing a painful truth that players have been whispering about for years. They feel undervalued. They feel like their incredible talent, their dedication, their ability to sell out arenas and drive ratings isn't being reflected in their paychecks. And now, here comes Project B, saying forget incremental raises and union negotiations. Here's real money. Here's multi-million-dollar contracts. Here's equity stakes in the league itself, turning you from an employee into an owner. That kind of offer doesn't just attract talent. It obliterates every argument for staying put. The speculation around Ogwumike's deal suggests figures easily in the multi-million-dollar range, possibly including ownership equity. Let that sink in. Ownership equity. That means she's not just getting paid to play. She's becoming a stakeholder in the league's success, building long-term generational wealth that extends far beyond her.
This is big news. Bro, I believe, this is just my theory, I believe this Project B could be bigger than the W. Word to all the content creators. Your boy John Liquid, this Project B is about to be, this gonna save the day for everybody. This Project B is gonna save everybody, champ. We need a champion around this. We need to blow this up. We need to blow this up. April to November. This is gonna be the biggest thing. Smoking. They cutting the checks, bruh. Now, that would not interfere with the WNBA season, but it's gonna put the WNBA out.
Playing years. That's a completely different economic model than anything the WNBA has ever offered, and it exposes just how far behind the traditional league has fallen. So where is all this money coming from? Saudi royal involvement, state-backed funding with resources that are essentially limitless. This isn't a league worried about ticket sales or television contracts or merchandise revenue. This is a financial powerhouse that operates entirely outside conventional sports economics. There's no salary cap holding them back. No collective bargaining agreement limiting what they can offer. No revenue projections dictating budget constraints. They can write whatever check they want, whenever they want, for whoever they want. And that creates a competitive dynamic that has never existed in professional sports before. Compare that to what's happening with the WNBA right now. The league is deep into collective bargaining agreement negotiations that have already been extended by 30 days because the two sides can't agree on fundamental issues like salary structures and revenue sharing. Players are literally fighting for fair compensation through complex legal processes and union representation. It's slow, it's frustrating, and it's adversarial. Meanwhile, Project B walks into the room and says, "Here's your money. Sign here." No negotiations. No committees, no waiting, just immediate financial security. That directness doesn't just appeal to players. It humiliates the WNBA's entire economic system. And then there's the scheduling strategy, which is either brilliant or absolutely diabolical, depending on your perspective. Project B's inaugural season is planned to run from November through April. Notice anything? That's the exact window of the WNBA's off-season. On the surface, it sounds reasonable. It doesn't directly conflict with WNBA games. Players could theoretically do both. But think deeper. That off-season is supposed to be recovery time. Rest, rehabilitation, family time, mental health breaks. Now imagine adding a full professional season during that window. You're asking athletes to play basketball year-round with no break. That's a recipe for burnout, injuries, and career-shortening physical toll. But here's the darker implication. If the money from Project B is good enough, players might choose that league over the WNBA entirely. They might skip the traditional season altogether to focus on where the real paychecks are. And that would absolutely cripple the WNBA's talent pool. A viral tweet captured the existential fear perfectly. Project B could literally end the WNBA with one move. Sign Caitlin Clark and put an exclusivity clause in her contract. Think about what that means. If Caitlin can't play in the WNBA because she's contractually bound to Project B, the league loses its biggest draw, its most marketable star, the player who brought unprecedented attention and revenue. Without her, ratings drop. Sponsorships disappear. New fans lose interest. The entire growth trajectory collapses. That's not hypothetical doomsaying. That's strategic warfare, and Project B absolutely has the resources to make it happen. So the question everyone's asking is, how much would they actually offer Caitlin? The context suggests figures that defy logic. We're not talking about doubling her WNBA salary. We're talking about generational wealth, life-changing money that redefines what's possible for female athletes. To understand the scale, look at what Saudi-backed sports ventures have done in other areas. Canelo Alvarez signed a $400 million boxing contract. Conor McGregor made $6 million for 3 exhibition fights. Jon Rahm's LIV golf signing bonus was somewhere between $400 and $600 million. These aren't incremental investments. These are unprecedented financial commitments that prove no price is too high when the strategic goal is domination. And then someone said it out loud. $1 billion for Caitlin Clark. That number exploded across social media, launching the conversation into an entirely different stratosphere. Now, was that figure confirmed? No. Is it realistic? Probably not. But here's what matters. The fact that people even discussed it seriously shows how far outside normal boundaries this situation has gone. When a $1 billion offer doesn't sound completely insane, when the response is not "that's impossible," but rather "you never know," you've entered a realm where traditional valuation rules simply don't apply anymore. Project B isn't operating on market logic. They're operating on strategic ambition, and for that, money is just a tool. Some analysts suggest Caitlin's market value might have dipped slightly after her rookie WNBA season. Fair point. If this offer had come 2 years ago at the peak of her college dominance, maybe she commands $50 to $100 million easily. Now, a more realistic range might be 10 to 20 million with performance incentives. But here's what that analysis misses. Project B isn't evaluating Caitlin based solely on her current stats or recent performance. They're thinking global impact. They're thinking about legitimacy, attention, cultural relevance. And for those strategic goals, her value is incalculable. The bold prediction floating around is that Project B could actually become bigger than the WNBA. Not just competitive, bigger. Some even suggest it could put the traditional league out of business entirely. That sounds extreme until you consider the financial disparity. One league is scraping together revenue from ticket sales and broadcast deals. The other has state-backed unlimited funding. One league is negotiating penny increases through collective bargaining. The other is offering equity ownership and multi-million-dollar guarantees. When the gap is that enormous, the outcome isn't competition. It's replacement, and that creates an unprecedented conflict of interest. Players now face an impossible choice: loyalty to the league that gave them their start, or financial security that could change their entire family's future. That's not a fair dilemma. It's a force fracture that threatens to split women's professional basketball into two completely separate tiers, with Project B sitting on top, holding all the leverage. The structural implications are profound. If the best players leave, the WNBA becomes a minor league. If they stay, they're potentially leaving hundreds of millions on the table. Either way, the landscape has permanently shifted. But this story isn't really just about basketball. It's a preview of what's coming across all professional sports. Traditional leagues with legacy structures and limited budgets are about to face direct challenges from organizations with unlimited resources and zero historical constraints. The Saudi investment strategy isn't limited to women's basketball. They're making moves in golf, soccer, boxing, and beyond. And every time the same pattern emerges: massive offers, immediate disruption, and traditional leagues scrambling to respond. The billion-dollar figure, whether it ever materializes or remains powerful speculation, symbolizes something much bigger. It represents a new era where athlete compensation isn't limited by league revenue or television contracts or historical precedent. It's limited only by strategic ambition. And when the ambition is to dominate global sports, no price tag is too high. The ripple effects will extend far beyond women's basketball, fundamentally changing what athletes expect, what leagues can offer, and how the entire professional sports ecosystem operates. Right now, the WNBA commissioner is facing a nightmare scenario. The league's biggest star is being offered more money than anyone imagined possible by a competitor with unlimited resources. There's no counteroffer that makes sense. There's no negotiation tactic that works. There's just the brutal reality that someone else has more money and fewer restrictions, and they're willing to use both. That instant regret, that sinking realization that the game has completely changed and there's nothing you can do about it, that's what's happening in real time. The bottom line is simple and devastating. Professional sports will never be the same. The rules have been rewritten. The game has completely changed.